Hare Krishna Maharaj, please accept our humble obeisances. All glories to your holy lotus feet, all glories to Jagat Guru Srila Prabhupada, all glories to Asamuddha Vaishnavi devotees. Thank you so much, Maharaj, for being here.
Jai.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. Thank you. So, dear devotees, we thank you all for being here today, as usual. And of course, we are very much blessed. We have the presence of His Holiness Giriraj Swami Maharaj, who will be sharing with us the Nectarian Srimad Bhagavatam. And we humbly urge every devotee to be very attentive. And if you're tired, try to stay awake and you close your eyes only after the class. And please, if possible, turn on your cameras so that it will be more intimate and more personal. And that is if it's possible. So with that being said, Maharaj, please, you may go ahead and if you want to chant the Mangalacharam, you may do that. Thank you, Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
Vandeham Shri Guru Shri Buddha Padakamalam Shri Guru Vaishnavanscha Shri Rupam Sagrajatam Sagana Raghunatam Itam Tam Sajivam Sadvaitam Savadhutam Parijana Saitam Krishna Chaitanya Devam Shri Radha Krishna Padam Sagana Lalita Shri Vishakhanvitangscha Namah Vishnupadaya Krishna Prasthaya Bhutale Srimate Bhaktivedanta Swamin Iti Namine Vishnupadaya Krishna Prasthaya Bhutale Srimate Bhaktivedanta Swami Iti Namine Gauravani Pracharine Nirvishesha Sunyavadi Paschatya Deshatarine
Namaste Saraswati Devi Gauravani Pracharine Nirvishesha Shunyavadi Paschatya Deshatarine
Sri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shivasadi Gaur Bhaktavinda
Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shivasadi Gaur Bhaktavinda
Sri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shivasadi Gaur Bhaktavinda
Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shivasadi Gaur Bhaktavinda
Sri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shivasadi Gaur Bhaktavinda
Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shivasadi Gaur Bhaktavinda
Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare
Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare
Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare
Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare
Hare Krishna 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 Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
Jaya Prabhupada, Jaya Prabhupada, Prabhupada, Jaya Prabhupada.
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 Jaya Gurudeva, Jaya Gurudeva, Gurudeva, Jaya Gurudeva.
Jaya Gurudeva, Jaya Gurudeva, Gurudeva, Jaya Gurudeva.
Jayam Vishnupad Paramahansa Pariprajakacharya Stotras Dasi Srimad Bhaktivedanta Swami Prabhupada Ki Jai. ISKCON founder Acharya Srila Prabhupada Ki Jai. Jayam Vishnupad Paramahansa Pariprajakacharya Stotras Dasi Srimad Bhaktivedanta Saraswati Goswami Prabhupada Ki Jai. Anantakoti Vaishnavrinda Ki Jai. Namacharya Srila Haridas Thakur Ki Jai. Prem se kaho Sri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shivas Adi Gaur Bhaktarinda Ki Jai. Shri Shri Radha Krishna Gopa Gopinath Sham Kunda Radha Kundagiri Govardhan Ki Jai. Vrindavan Dham Ki Jai, Navadvip Dham Ki Jai, Jamuna Mai Ki Jai, Ganga Mai Ki Jai, Tulsi Devi Ki Jai, Bhakti Devi Ki Jai, Samvita Bhaktarinda Ki Jai, Nitai Gaur Premanande Hari Hari Bo. All glories to the assembled devotees. All glories to the assembled devotees. All glories to the assembled devotees. All glories to Sri Guru and Sri Gauranga. All glories to Srila Prabhupada. So we read from Srimad Bhagavatam, Canto 2, Chapter 7, Scheduled Incarnations, Text 26. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya.
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 Please repeat. Ume
Ume
Sura Itara
Suraritara
Varuta
Varuta
Vimarditaya
Vimaditaya
Klesha
Klesha
Vyayaya
Jayaya
Kalaya
Pralaya
Sita Krishna
Sita Krishna
Kesha
Kesha
Jata
Jata
Karishyati
Karishyati
Anupalakshya
Anupalakshya
Marga
Marga
Karmani
Karmani
Cha
Cha
Atma Mahima
Atma Mahima
Upanibandadani
Upani Vandadani
Bhume Suretara Varuta Vimarditaya Klesha Vyayaya Kalaya Sita Krishna Kesha Jata Karishyati Jananupalakshya Marga Karmani Chatma Mahimo Panibandadani Bhume Sureta Radharuta Vimarditaya Klesha Vyayaya Kalaya Sita Krishna Kesha Jata Karishyati Jananupalakshya Marga Karmani Chatma Mahimo Panibandadani. Please repeat. Bhume
Bhume
of the entire world,
of the entire world
Sura Itara,
Suraitara
other than godly persons,
other than godly persons
Varuta,
Varuta
soldiers,
soldiers
Vimarditaya,
Vimaditaya
distressed by the burden,
distressed by the burden
Klesha,
Klesha
miseries,
miseries
Vyayaya,
Vyaya
for the matter of diminishing,
for the matter of diminishing
Kalaya,
Kalaya
along with his plenary expansion,
along with his plenary expansion
Sita Krishna,
Sita Krishna
not only beautiful but also black,
not only beautiful but also black
Kesha,
Kesha
with such hairs,
with such hairs
Jata,
Jata
having appeared,
having appeared
Karishyati,
Karishyati
would act,
would act
Jana,
Jana
people in general,
people in general
Anupalakshya,
Anupalakshya
rarely to be seen,
ready to be seen
Marga,
Marga
path,
path
Karmani,
Karmani
activities,
activities
Cha,
Cha
also,
also
Atma Mahima,
Atma Mahima
glories of the Lord Himself,
glories of the Lord Himself
Upanibandhanani,
Upani Bandhanani
in relation to,
in relation to
translation. When the world is overburdened by the fighting strength of kings who have no faith in God, the Lord, just to diminish the distress of the world, descends with his plenary portion. The Lord comes in his original form with beautiful black hair, and just to expand his transcendental glories, he acts extraordinarily. No one can properly estimate how great he is. Please repeat. When the world is overburdened by the fighting strength of kings who have no faith in God, the Lord, just to diminish the distress of the world, descends with his plenary portion. The Lord comes in his original form with beautiful black hair. And just to expand his transcendental glories, he acts extraordinarily. No one can properly estimate how great he is. Purport by Srila Prabhupada. This verse is especially describing the appearance of Lord Krishna and his immediate expansion, Lord Baladev. Both Lord Krishna and Lord Baladev are one Supreme Personality of Godhead. The Lord is omnipotent, and he expands himself in innumerable forms and energies, and the whole unit is known as the one Supreme Brahman. Such extensions of the Lord are divided into two divisions, namely personal and differential. The personal expansions are called the Vishnu Tattvas, and the differential expansions are called the Jiva Tattvas. So we, of course, are Jivas, Jiva Tattva, and we are servants of the Vishnu Tattvas. Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu has said, Jiver Swarupai Krishtara Nityadas. The constitutional position of the living entity is that he is the eternal servant of Krishna. So that is our constitutional position. And when we act in our constitutional position, we are happy and satisfied. And when we are envious of the Lord, when we want to try to take the place of the Lord or assume the position of the Lord, we are frustrated and miserable. So now back to the purport. The personal expansions are called Vishnu Tattvas, and the differential expansions are called the Jiva Tattvas. And in such expansion activity, Lord Valadev is the first personal expansion of Krishna, the Supreme Personality of Godhead. In the Vishnu Purana, well, first I'll relate a little sort of humorous incident that took place with Srila Prabhupada at the Ardha Kumbh Mela in Allahabad in 1971. And at the Kumbh Mela, Madhuvisa Prabhu said that Krishna and Balaram are the same. The only difference is that Krishna is black and Balaram is white. And in Muna Devi said, no, there's another difference because Krishna is the only enjoyer of Srimati Radharani. So Tamal Krishna Goswami took the dispute to Srila Prabhupada, and he said that that Madhuvisa Prabhu says that that Krishna and Balaram are the same. The only difference is that Krishna is black and Balaram is white. And Srila Prabhupada said, he's right. And then he said, but Yamuna Devi says that there's a difference because Krishna is the only enjoyer of Srimati Radharani. And Srila Prabhupada said, yes, she's right. And Tamal Krishna Goswami said, they're both saying different things. They both can't be right. And Srila Prabhupada said, yes, you are right. So then Tamal Krishna Goswami said, well, then who is right? And Prabhupada said, you decide. So, okay, back to the purport. So in the Vishnu Purana, as well as in the Mahabharata, both Krishna and Baladev are mentioned as having beautiful black hair, even in their advanced age. So some time ago, there was I guess you could say an imitation god in Pune named Rajneesh. He began as Acharya Rajneesh, and he wasn't really an Acharya. And then he became Bhagavan Rajneesh. So one of the arguments that Srila Prabhupada gave against his being Bhagavan was that Krishna has beautiful black hair, and Rajneesh was growing bald. So how could he be God? God has beautiful black hair. Okay, back to the purport. The Lord is called Anupalaksya Marga, or in still more technical Vedic terms, Avan Manasa Gochara, one who is never to be seen or realized by the limited sense perception of the people in general. In the Bhagavad Gita 7:25, it is said by the Lord, Naham Prakasha Sarvasya Yoga Maya Samavrita. So I'll read the full translation. Oh, very good. Naham Prakasha Sarvasya Yoga Maya Samavrita Mudoyam Nabijanati Lokoyam Ajam Avyayam. Translation: I am never manifest to the foolish and unintelligent. For them, I am covered by my internal potency, and therefore they do not know that I am unborn and infallible. Purport by Srila Prabhupada. It may be argued that since Krishna was visible to everyone when he was present on this earth, how can it be said that he is not manifest to everyone? But actually, he was not manifest to everyone. When Krishna was present, there were only a few people who could understand him to be the Supreme Personality of Godhead. So they may have seen him with their eyes, but they didn't understand who he actually was, and therefore it can be said that they did not really see him. When Krishna was present, there were only a few people who could understand him to be the Supreme Personality of Godhead. In the assembly of Kurus, when Shishupal spoke against Krishna's being elected president of the assembly, Bhishma supported Krishna and proclaimed him to be the supreme God. Similarly, the Pandavas and a few others knew that he was the supreme, but not everyone. He was not revealed to the non-devotees and the common man. Therefore, in the Bhagavad Gita, Krishna says that but for his pure devotees, all men consider him to be like themselves. Ya avajananti mam mudha. He was manifest only to his devotees as a reservoir of all pleasure. But to others, to unintelligent non-devotees, he was covered by his internal potencies. So, yeah, there's another related verse, which I will read. This comes a few verses later. This is Bhagavad Gita 9:11. Mamula manusim tanamashritam mama bhutam ishwaram. Fools deride me when I descend in the human form. They do not know my transcendental nature as the Supreme Lord of all that be. And in the purport, Srila Prabhupada says, from the other explanations of the previous verses in this chapter, it is clear that the Supreme Personality of Godhead, although appearing like a human being, is not a common man. The personality of Godhead, who conducts the creation, maintenance, and annihilation of the complete cosmic manifestation, cannot be a human being. Yet there are many foolish men who consider Krishna to be merely a powerful man and nothing more. Actually, he is the original Supreme Personality of Godhead, as confirmed in the Brahma Samhita, Ishvara Parama Krishna. He is the Supreme Lord. There are many Ishwaras, controllers, and one appears greater than another. In the ordinary management of affairs in the material world, we find some official or director, and above him there is a secretary, and above him a minister, and above him a president. Each of them is a controller, but one is controlled by another. In Brahma Samhita, it is said that Krishna is the supreme controller, Ishvara Parama Krishna. There are many controllers, undoubtedly, both in the material world and spiritual world. But Krishna is the supreme controller, Ishvara Parama Krishna, and his body is Satchit Ananda Vigraha, non-material. Yes, Sat means eternal, Chit means full of knowledge, and Ananda means full of bliss. So that is Krishna. Material bodies cannot perform the wonderful. His body is eternal, blissful, and full of. Foolish to ride him and consider him to be. His body is called here Manusim because he is acting just like a man. A friend of Arjuna's, a politician involved in the battle of Kurukshetra. In so many ways, he is acting just like an ordinary man, but actually his body is Satchidananda Vigraha, eternal bliss and knowledge absolute. This is confirmed in Vedic language also. Satchidananda Rupaya Krishnaya. I offer my obeisances unto the Supreme Personality of Godhead Krishna, who is the eternal blissful form of knowledge. Gopala Upanishad 1:1. So we are so fortunate that Srila Prabhupada has given us so much knowledge in his purports. There are other descriptions in the Vedic language also. Tam ekam govindam. You are Govinda, the pleasure of the senses and the cows. Satchidananda Vigraham, and your form is transcendental, full of knowledge, bliss, and eternality. Gopala Upanishad 1:38. Despite the transcendental qualities of Lord Krishna's body, its full bliss and knowledge, we need to move it up so I can see the rest. Despite the transcendental qualities of Lord Krishna's body, its full bliss and knowledge, there are many so-called scholars and commentators of Bhagavad Gita who deride Krishna as an ordinary man. The scholar may be born an extraordinary man due to his previous good work, but this conception of Krishna is due to a poor fund of knowledge. Therefore, he is called Mudha, that so-called scholar, for only foolish persons consider Krishna to be an ordinary human being. The foolish consider Krishna an ordinary human being because they do not know the confidential activities of the Supreme Lord and his different energies. Thing that be, and he can award liberation to anyone, because they do not know that Krishna has so many transcendental qualifications. They deride him. Of Krishna, we should awaken within our hearts a desire to surrender to him and serve him and dedicate our lives to him. It's now the manifestation of his eternal energy. He is the master of the material energy, as has been explained in several places. Mama by Maya Duratyaya. He claims that the material is under his control, and whoever surrenders unto him can get out of the control of the material energy. As Devi Yesa Gunamai Mama Maya Duratya. Then how could the Supreme Lord who conducts the creation, maintenance, and annihilation of the whole cosmic nature, have a material body like us. So this conception of Krishna is complete foolishness. Foolish persons, however, cannot conceive that the Supreme Personality of Godhead, Krishna, appearing just like an ordinary man, can be the controller of all the atoms and of the gigantic manifestation of the universal form. Yes, Srila Prabhupada said, we will not say that Krishna is the Supreme Personality of Godhead in one purport, but we will say that Krishna is the Supreme Personality of Godhead in every purport. And this is an example. The biggest and the minutest are beyond their conception. So they cannot imagine that a form like that of a human being can simultaneously control the infinite and the minute. Actually, although he is controlling the infinite and the finite, he is apart from all this manifestation. It is clearly stated concerning his yogam Aishwaram, his inconceivable transcendental energy, that he can control the infinite and the finite simultaneously, and that he can remain aloof from them. Although the foolish cannot imagine how Krishna, who appears like a human being, can control the infinite and the finite, those who are pure devotees accept this, for they know that Krishna is the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Therefore, they completely surrender unto him and engage in Krishna consciousness, devotional service of the Lord. So we can go back to today's verse and purport. Both Lord Krishna and Lord Baladev, well, I'll read the previous sentence because it explains what follows. Only the bona fide devotees can know him by his specific symptoms, and out of many, many such symptoms, one symptom is mentioned here in this verse, that the Lord is Sita Krishna Kesha, or one who is observed always with beautiful black hair. Both Lord Krishna and Lord Baladev have such hairs on their heads, and thus even in advanced age, they appeared like young boys 16 years old. This is the particular symptom of the personality of Godhead. In the Brahma Samhita, it is stated that although he is the oldest personality among all living entities, he always looks like a new, youthful boy, as Navayovanam. That is the characteristic of a spiritual body. The material body is symptomized by birth, death, old age, and diseases. But the spiritual body is conspicuous by the absence of those symptoms. So this phrase, birth, death, old age, and disease, Janma, Mritu, Jara, Vyadi, comes from the 13th chapter of the Bhagavad Gita, which describes the process of knowledge. And part of the process of knowledge is to be aware, Janma, Mritu, Jara, Vyadi, Dukkha, Dosa, Anudarshanam. Part of the process of knowledge is to be aware of the miseries of birth, death, old age, and disease. We should be conscious of those concomitant factors to having a material body. And nobody wants, birth, death, old age, or disease, but they're forced upon us because of the material body. And to get free from Janma, Mritu, Jara, Vyadi, birth, death, old age, and disease, we need to develop our spiritual body. The material body is symptomized by birth, death, old age, and diseases, but the spiritual body is conspicuous by the absence of those symptoms. Living entities who reside in the Vaikuntha Lokas, in eternal life and bliss, have the same type of spiritual body, without being affected by any signs of old age. It is described in the Bhagavatam, Canto 6, that the party of Vishnu Dutas, who came to deliver Ajamil from the clutches of the party of Yamaraj, appeared like youthful boys, corroborating the description in this verse. It is ascertained thus that the spiritual bodies in the Vaikuntha Lokas, either of the Lord or of the other inhabitants, are completely distinct from the material bodies of this world. Therefore, when the Lord descends from that world to this world, he descends in his spiritual body of Atma Maya, or internal potency, without any touch of the Bahiranga Maya, or external material energy. The allegation that the impersonal Brahman appears in this material world by accepting a material body is quite absurd. Therefore, the Lord, when he comes here, has not a material body, but a spiritual body. And there are many evidences that the Lord comes in a spiritual body. One is that his body never appears to age beyond that of a youth or so. And he performs so many wonderful feats with his body, such as lifting the Govardhan hill, holding it over his head with the little finger of his left hand. No one with a material body can perform such feats. So Krishna definitely had a spiritual body when he appeared. He has a spiritual body, and he appeared with the same spiritual body. So back to the purport. The impersonal Brahma Jyoti is only the glaring effulgence of the body of the Lord, and there is no difference in quality between the body of the Lord and the impersonal ray of the Lord called Brahma Jyoti. Just like the sun and the sun shine, there's no difference in quality between. Now the question is why the Lord, who is omnipotent, comes here to diminish the burden created upon the world by the unscrupulous kingly order. Certainly, the Lord does not need to come here personally for such purposes, because he can kill the demons through his agents, through the external energy, through Maya. He can kill the demons. So that's not the real reason why he descends. he actually descends to exhibit his transcendental activities in order to encourage his pure devotees who want to enjoy life by chanting the glories of the Lord. In the Bhagavad Gita 9:13 and 14, it is stated that the Mahatmas, great devotees of the Lord, take pleasure in chanting of the activities of the Lord. So, yes, Bhagavad Gita 9:13. Mahatmanastu mam partha daivim prakritim ashritaha bhajanti ananya manaso gyatva bhutadim avyayam. O son of Pritha, those who are not deluded, the great souls, are under the protection of the divine nature. They are fully engaged in devotional service because they know me as the Supreme Personality of Godhead, original and inexhaustible. Purport by Srila Prabhupada. In this verse, the description of the Mahatma is clearly given. The first sign of the Mahatma is that he is already situated in the divine nature. He is not under the control of material nature. And how is this effected? That is explained in the 7th chapter. One who surrenders under the Supreme Personality of Godhead, Sri Krishna, at once becomes freed from the control of material nature. As I mentioned earlier, Devi Esha Gunamayi Mama Maya Dharatyaya Mam Eviye Prapadyante Mayam Etam Tarantite. That this material nature, consisting of the three modes, is very difficult to surpass, but one who surrenders to Krishna can easily go beyond it. Yes, the exact translation in Srila Prabhupada's Bhagavad Gita as it is. This divine energy of mind, consisting of the three modes of material nature, is difficult to overcome. But those who have surrendered unto me can easily cross beyond it. Now back to the purport. So yes, the Lord appears to create subject matter for his devotees, Mahatmas, to recite. And so it is stated that the Mahatmas, great devotees of the Lord, take pleasure in chanting of the activities of the Lord. All Vedic literatures are meant for turning one's attention towards the Lord and his transcendental activities. Thus, the activities of the Lord in his dealings with worldly people create a subject matter for discussion by his pure devotees. So yes, that is the Lord's mercy. He comes and displays wonderful pastimes so that our devotees can chant and hear about them. We read the translation to 9:13, and now 9:14, which is especially relevant and appropriate. Satatam kirtayanto mam yatantas chadrida vrita namasyantas chamam bhaktya nitya yukta upasate. Always chanting my glories endeavoring with great determination, bowing down before me. These great souls perpetually worship me with devotion. Lord, Srila Prabhupada. The Mahatma not be manufactured by. His symptoms are described here. A Mahatma is always engaged in chanting the glories of the Supreme Lord Krishna, the personality of Godhead. He has no other business. He is always engaged in the glorification of the Lord. In other words, he is not an impersonalist. When the question of glorification is there, one has to glorify the Supreme Lord, praising his holy name, his eternal form, his transcendental qualities, and his uncommon pastimes. One has to glorify all these things. Therefore, a Mahatma is attached to the Supreme Personality of Godhead. When Srila Prabhupada was in Bombay, before we had the Juhu temple, because there was a dispute about the land, and then there was so many obstacles in getting the permission to build. Srila Prabhupada was staying at Seaface Park in the vacant flat of Kartikeya Mahadevya, who was a good friend of Srila Prabhupada's and the devotees. And every evening, Srila Prabhupada would speak to the devotees about the nectar of devotion. But if it happened that someone from outside came, then Srila Prabhupada would change the level of discourse from that of the nectar of devotion to that of the Bhagavad Gita. So one evening, a big Hindu, Sri B.M. Kamdar, came, and he asked Sri Prabhupada that India is the land of Mahatmas, so there should be no problems. Yet India has so many problems. Why is that? And Srila Prabhupada replied, the reason India has so many problems is because you do not know who is a Mahatma and who is not a Mahatma. So here in these verses of the Bhagavad Gita, we get the actual definition of Mahatma. And although popularly Mohandas Gandhi was called Mahatma Gandhi, but it's questionable if he was really a Mahatma, according to the standard and definition of the Bhagavad Gita. So, my dear devotees, to fully realize Krishna, we need to cleanse our heart, Cheto Darpano Marjanam, and we cleanse the heart by chanting the holy names. Harinama, Harinama, Harinama Eva Kevalam, Kalona Stevana, 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 Steva Gatiranyata. One should chant the holy names, chant the holy names of Lord Hari, Krishna. The way for success in this age of Kali Yuga. So thank you for listening so patiently and attentively. And now, if any of you have any questions, you can raise your hand, your physical hand or your virtual hand. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. Thank you so much, Maharaj, for such wonderful Krishna Katha. it's a very nice way of swimming through the scriptures. You're going in here and then coming out here. So beautiful. So devotees, if anyone may have a question, comment, please. Like Maharaj said, you may raise your physical hand or your virtual hand and you'll be asked to unmute to speak.
Again, I would like, as you did earlier, I would like to request the devotees, as far as possible, to put on their cameras so we can see our own like faces, and it's a more personal experience.
Well, Maharaj, I have one question.
All right.
And my question is, we've heard about the 6 opulences of Krishna, of which one is renunciation. And we've seen from the purport we read that whichever way one wants to see Krishna, Krishna doesn't really care. If one wants to see Krishna as a womanizer, he's not worried about that. If one wants to see him as taking sides with Arjun, the Pandavas, it really doesn't care. But for us as devotees, trying to be devotees, it is difficult for us, especially like if you are a disciple and somebody is saying something negative, which is untruthful about your guru, how can you sit still and consider that to be demonstrating the qualities of Krishna, that he is renounced, is detached? Please help me in this regard. How should, as aspiring devotees, understand this quality of Krishna and trying to live that quality that Krishna has? Hare Krishna, Maharaj.
Hare Krishna. Well, Krishna, as Lord Chaitanya has stated, Trinadapi Sunitena Tararapi Sishnuna Amanina Manadena Kirtaniya Sadari. One should be more humble than the grass, and more tolerant than the tree, devoid of all sense of false prestige, but ready to offer all respects to others. And in such a state of mind, one can chant the holy names of the Lord constantly. So, although Lord Chaitanya advocated humility and tolerance, but when Jagai and Madhai attacked Nityananda Prabhu, he rushed to the scene with his Sudarshan Chakra ready to kill them. So Srila Prabhupada explains that when it comes to a matter of an offense against us, we don't take offense. Chinadapi Sunichinatararapi Sehishna. But when there's an offense against the Lord or another devotee, then we must respond. So, yeah, if there's criticism of Krishna or Krishna's devotees, our spiritual master, we should not just be humble and tolerant, but we should respond. It's stated in the scripture that one should not hear blasphemy of the Lord or the devotee. And if possible, one should defeat the blasphemer with logic and reason and argument. And if one is unable to defeat the person, then one should leave the place. But one should not hear blasphemy, just as blasphemy itself is an offense, it's also an offense to hear blasphemy. So if we're able, we should silence the blasphemer with strong argument. And if we can't do that, then we should leave the place, but we should not hear such blasphemy.
Thank you so much, Maharaj. I really appreciated the answer, and I hope we all kind of learn from it and try our best to do the necessary. And I think that begins with ourselves trying to live in such a way that, because especially as sadakas, our behavior somehow extends to the spiritual master. And as much as we love our spiritual masters, we also would like to behave in such a way that because of us, they receive unkind words. We're living in a very unfortunate age that anybody, whether they are smart, they are not smart, they can talk. And they talk and many people listen. And it's unfortunate most of us are unable to decipher who is speaking, who and what is saying. So thank you so much for the answer. And we pray we all try our best to properly represent Srila Prabhupada and our gurus. Hare Krishna.
Yes.
Anyone with question, comment, realizations, please? It is not so common to have Maharaj's association. So when we have it, we should make the best use of his association.
Hare Krishna Maharaj. Please kindly accept my humble obeisances. All glory to Srila Prabhupada and all glories to you.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna Maharaj and all glories to the assembly devotees. Maharaj, my question is a little bit related to His Grace Sahadev Prabhu's question. Sometimes it is very, 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 very difficult to control yourself if you hear somebody talking bad about the Krishna or Krishna consciousness or your Guru Maharaj. Because of the love you have for Krishna and what you know about Krishna. So in other faiths, especially in Islam, it is very, very difficult for people to say bad things about Prophet Muhammad or Allah or Islam because they react. And if somebody reacts in this way, like if somebody says something bad about Krishna or your Guru Maharaj or the devotees, which is lie. And the way, for instance, other faith, the way they behave, is it obsessed or is it that they have too much love for God? Or if somebody acts that way, is acting out of ignorance? This is my question, because sometimes there are certain things you hear and you become so upset. So I want you to help me with that. Hare Krishna.
Well, as I mentioned, we should not tolerate blasphemy of the Lord or the devotees. And if we are able, we can silence the blasphemer by superior reason and argument and evidence. And if we're not able to silence the blasphemer, then we should just leave the place. But we should not listen to blasphemy. Definitely not, under any circumstance. And as I mentioned, not only is it an offense to blaspheme, but it's also an offense to hear blasphemy. So we should not do that.
Hare Krishna. Thank you so much, Maharaj. So we go to Guru Bhakti Devi. Please, you may unmute.
Hi, Krishna Maharaj. Please accept my humble obeisances. All glories to you and Srila Prabhupada. Guru Maharaj, you mentioned that Srila Prabhupada said that that he would write that Krishna is the Supreme Personality of Godhead, not just in one purpose, but in every purpose. And he never compromised on Krishna's position. And the way you and all the devotees preach, we also try not to compromise on Krishna's position. But then, Guru Maharaj, when we try to tell people who believe in demigods that Krishna is actually the Supreme Personality of Godhead, and the demigods are his servants, they don't feel good. And then I feel like it drives them more away from Krishna consciousness. I mean, they're willing to listen, and then I tell them that, and then they don't like it. So what do we do, Guru Maharaj? I don't want to hurt their feelings, but you also said we should not compromise. Please follow me.
Yeah, we should not compromise, but at the same time, we should be sensitive to our audience and what they can hear and appreciate and what they cannot hear. And of course, it's true that the demigods, it's like Krishna is the king and the demigods are like ministers in the cabinet of the king. They're faithful servants of the king, and therefore the king entrusts them with various responsibilities for the management of the universe. So if we explain it like that, they shouldn't take offense or be, turned off of Krishna consciousness. But if, again, we should be sensitive to our audience. And if we find that they're getting turned off to Krishna consciousness by that kind of preaching, then we can leave it, The main thing is we want them to continue to associate with devotees, chant, visit the temple, hear the scriptures, read Prabhupada's books. It's very important that they read Srila Prabhupada's books. Once I visited a family in America. The wife is my disciple, and her mother was visiting from India. And her mother was very pious, very nice. But at a certain stage in the conversation, the mother started to speak impersonal philosophy. And I thought, if I argue with her, she won't like it, and her daughter, who was my disciple, who is hosting us, won't like it, and the whole mood will be spoiled. So I thought the best thing is she should read Srila Prabhupada's books. And, I won't call her a fool and rascal, but I'll let Srila Prabhupada call her a fool and rascal. So giving people Prabhupada's books is always a good approach, almost always a good approach.
Thank you so much, Guru Maharaj. Hare Krishna. Thank you.
Thank you so much for that beautiful question, Guru Bhakti Devi. I think I saw Ishopanishad Devi sent up. Are you still here for the Shri Ishopanishad?
Jai, Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
Oh, glories to your divine service, Maharaj. How have you been?
Good, wonderful, fine.
Jai Prabhu. I just have a couple compliments. I just wanted to share that I just got through reading your book, Many Moons.
Ishopanishad, do you have your camera turned on?
No, I don't.
Oh, okay, all right. If you can't, it's okay.
I'm in motion. I can't do that
all
just
right,
now. Okay.
Okay, so go ahead.
Alrighty. I'm
Okay.
so sorry.
No problem.
Maharaj, your book, Many Moons, Reflections on Departed Vaishnavas. Excellent. I enjoyed it. So wonderful. Are there any more books that we can look for from you in the future?
Well, yes, I've written 5 books.
Okay.
So first was Watering the Seed.
In fact, we're going to play a very short clip of Maharaj and his books after the class. So if you can still hang on for a few minutes, you're going to see.
Well,
Okay.
that's that. Yeah.
Maharaj, can you please repeat yourself? You are breaking up, please.
So can we show that now?
Yeah.
We'll show it now. It's very appropriate.
Yes, I think so.
Okay, wonderful. Haribol. Hare Krishna, Maharaj. Haribol.
Hare Krishna.
You should write. This is your first business. Go on writing.
This instruction was given to His Holiness Giriraj Swami personally by His Divine Grace Srila Prabhupada in 1971 and repeated over the years. In more than 5 decades since, Giriraj Swami has served Srila Prabhupada faithfully and tirelessly, sharing his experiences and realizations with us in his books. Have you ever wondered how service to God relates to service to man? What was Srila Prabhupada's vision that led people around the world to chant Krishna's names?
Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare,
Watering the seed is an invaluable offering to all aspirants on the path of devotion, with many wonderful personal exchanges between Srila Prabhupada and his dear disciple. Giriraj Swami kindly shares his realizations with the honesty, wisdom, and humility for which he is known and loved. It transports us into Srila Prabhupada's intimate association during some of the most historic moments of ISKCON's development.
It's like in the sky there is one moon only, and there are millions of stars. But one more, dissipate the whole darkness of the night. Similarly, at least those who have taken to Krishna consciousness, each of you become a moon and enlighten the world.
Oh hey Vaishnava Guru, Yara Saguru, Yadase Guru. Oh hey Vaishnava Thakura, Doyara Sagara, Edase Karuna Kari.
The great souls described in these pages are bright, full moons of Srila Prabhupada's mercy. Their lives are living instructions. Their activities, chandrikas, cooling, illuminating moonbeams of Vaishnav sharing, teaching, and realization.
Diyapada Chaya Sodohe Amaya. Diyapada Chaya Sodohe Amaya.
With their unconditional love and dedication to Srila Prabhupada, these personalities built this worldwide movement and gifted it to us, to be nurtured by it and to serve.
An exclusive treatise on one's last days of life that gives readers the resource to face death squarely. And deal successfully with that often fearful and painful, but also saving moment. Down to earth and practical as well as scriptural, both fresh and mature. It draws us in with superb narrative and also answers tough questions about death and dying.
Drawing from both spiritual leaders and experts in the field of hospice and palliative medicine, life's final exam has universal application.
One of the most important books about Srila Prabhupada. It's about Srila Prabhupada and his Leela of years of heartbreak and struggle in Juhu, Mumbai. No one else can write this book like His Holiness Giriraj Swami Maharaj.
Srila Prabhupada's struggle to establish Hare Krishna land and build a temple for Sri Sri Radha Rasa Bihari in Juhu, on the outskirts of Bombay, was perhaps the greatest effort of his preaching movement. By the strength of his desire, an overgrown plot of land in what had been a remote fishing village, infested with rats, snakes, and mosquitoes, became a place of pilgrimage and devotional service. And after a prolonged and arduous but victorious struggle, when the conveyance was finally signed, he declared, "It was a good fight. Someone should write a book about it."
I'll build you a temple transports us into one of the great events of our time. It is a story of surrender on the path of pure love, an incomparable story that many have tried to relate, but which no one will ever be able to tell, like His Holiness Giriraj Swami.
From the beginning, Giriraj Swami served the Juhu project in various roles for 30 years and spent years researching, writing, and preparing the book for publication. It is part of ISKCON history, a complement to Srila Prabhupada's Leelamrita.
This book is a page-turner to the highest degree. Once you begin, you just can't put it down.
Giriraj Swami has written his 5th book, Dancing White Elephants. Traveling with Srila Prabhupada in India, August 1970 to March 1972. Covering visits to Amritsar, Indore, Surat, Bombay, Calcutta, Allahabad, Gorakhpur, Delhi, Madras, and Mayapur. In some 400 pages of text and 17 images, Dancing White Elephants, with the foreword by Malati Dasi, who was present for most of the adventures, will captivate the minds and hearts of readers and increase their attachment to and love for Srila Prabhupada and his white elephants, his disciples who helped him in his mission.
Through Maharaj's carefully chosen words, you will see the exquisite sights and feel like you are living the experiences that were part of establishing the Hare Krishna movement in India. You will meet incredible devotees who became pillars of this movement through their own storied spiritual growth and advancement, and be introduced to seemingly ordinary persons whose lives became transformed by contact with Prabhupada and his dancing white elephants, just as he envisioned.
Vandeham Sri Guru Sri Juta.
Hari Hari Bol. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. So, Mother Shri Upanishad, thank you so much for your question. And with that, giving us the opportunity to have this beautiful darshan of His Holiness Giriraj Swami Maharaj's love for Srila Prabhupada on this screen. Maharaj, I'm sorry, I always have questions. And I think this question is probably from each and every one of us here. So I'm asking this question on behalf, I don't know, it may be a question or just a request on behalf of all the devotees, that Srila Prabhupada had a desire, and his desire was each and every one of you, especially his direct disciples, become moon. And most of you tried your best. And by the mercy of Srila Prabhupada and Krishna, we've had so many beautiful moons. And now it is our turn. We are also trying to become moons, but it's been difficult. So we're just praying. We're praying to you, we're praying to our gurus that we can properly represent our gurus and also represent Srila Prabhupada. Maharaj, this is a humble request that you pray for us, that somehow or other, even if we are unqualified, still we will be able to represent our gurus. We will be able to represent A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada. Maharaj, this is our humble request. Hare Krishna.
I wish you all the best, and I will pray for you. I think you can do it. But your humble attitude is nice. But yeah, I'll pray for you, and I think you can be successful in your effort.
Hare Krishna. Thank you so much, Maharaj. Devotees, if anyone may have a question, otherwise we may bring this to a close. We're going to hand a request you all to kindly unmute, and we all chant Hare Krishna Mahamantra to express our appreciation for Maharaj's blessings and wisdom. So you may all unmute. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna,
Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Rama Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Panchakapatarabhyascha, Kripa Sindhya Ivacha, Patitanam Pavanabhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namo.
So if we're I suggest we conclude with now. I suggest we conclude with Vaishnav. Just respectful obeisances unto all the Vaishnava devotees of the Lord. Desire trees who can fulfill everyone and are full of compassion for the fallen conditioned souls. Panchakalpatrubhyascha kripa Vaishnavande ki jai. The Prabhupada ki jai.
Thank you, Guru Maharaj.
All glory to His Holiness, Giriraj Swami Maharaj ki jai.
Yeah.
First, devotees, we thank you all for being here, and we hope to have your association again in the near future. And thank you so much, Maharaj.
Haribol, Prabhu, Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
I have one more question for Maharaj before he departs from us. How is your health, Maharaj? How have you been? How have you been feeling?
What was the question?
I wanted to know how is your health? I'm sure all the devotees would like to know. How is your health? How is your
Good. It's good.
Wonderful. Jai, Haribol.
Hare Krishna.
Thank you.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
Jai.
So we thank you all. Hare Krishna.